I woke up to some news from Subaru this morning. We do have a new Forester Wilderness, and this is clearly a great refresh over the previous one, which wasn't, how can I put this nicely, the most attractive vehicle out there. Now it looks very, very rugged and cool. It's still not a beautiful design, but it looks better. So first of all, before we jump into Photoshop here, let's have a look at this video from Subaru, and let's see what this is all about.
The Subaru Forester family is now bigger than ever, with two exciting new introductions. The new 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid and the new 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness.
If you want to go on trails and, get out into the wilds, that's the one.
Every Subaru Forester shares the do-anything DNA that has made it one of the best-selling and most award-winning compact SUVs on the market.
Not bad.
Safety runs strong in the Forester DNA. That's now more true than ever. The Subaru Forester is a 2024 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, the highest possible safety rating available. Better than the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V. Strong capability is at the core of the Subaru Forester. Drivers know they can depend on the legendary traction of standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. The Subaru Forester is famous for longevity. 96% of all Subaru Forester models sold in the past 10 years are still on the road today. More than the Toyota RAV4 and the Honda CR-V. All this inspires trust few other vehicles can claim. The 2025 Subaru Forester holds its value better than any other vehicle in its class, according to J.D. Power. It's no wonder the Subaru Forester is
This blacked out graphics, it looks pretty good. The only thing I don't understand with the Wilderness, though, is, the plastic that goes up and connects to the taillights and also the headlights. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. And I'm also going to make a tiny change to the Wilderness that completely transforms the design. It's a tiny little tweak. I'm going to show you that in Photoshop in a minute.
Consumer Reports recommended model and top pick, one of only 10 vehicles in the industry to achieve this honor. And Consumer Reports doesn't stop there. Subaru has been named the most reliable brand and best overall brand for 2025.
Man, it looks like they're crushing it, Subaru, with their awards
and now,
stuff.
love goes the extra mile with our most fuel-efficient, lowest-emission Forester. The new 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid. This Forester is the perfect all-around Subaru. A smart value with added fuel efficiency, while also being a rugged vehicle built to accommodate your big, active life.
Honestly, it looks pretty good.
Driving range is 581 miles per tank of gas. The all-new hybrid drivetrain delivers up to 40% better fuel economy than gas models, along with increased horsepower and torque.
Lovely.
And the hybrid has the lowest emissions of any Forester in history. A sleek and modern digital instrument cluster reports hybrid system power and efficiency. A black roof paint option available only on the hybrid adds to the Forester's distinctive style.
Classy.
Like every Forester, the hybrid is built to deliver confidence and capability. Legendary Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive and X mode come standard. And inside, there's ample room for the life you love, with flexible passenger and cargo space. It all comes together in the new 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid. Great mileage, low emissions, and the go-anywhere spirit that has been the calling card of the Forester from day one. If love of adventure elevated sounds like your kind of thinking, meet the new 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness. It's our most capable Forester. Bold cladding and off-road styling are your first sign this Forester stands above the ordinary. The legendary grip of standard Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive pairs with 9.3 inches of ground clearance for off-road confidence the Toyota RAV4 TRD or Ford Bronco Sport Badlands can't match. 17-inch matte black finish wheels and Yokohama Geolandar all-terrain tires serve up the extra grip to help take your Forester farther. X mode is dialed up, allowing a more aggressive attack for crawling and climbing. The transmission has been enhanced for heavy-duty towing and improved performance in challenging terrain. Skid plates protect the underside as you explore deeper and farther than ever before. Heavy-duty roof rails are rooftop tent ready.
Yes, that's what you want. Just go out and chill out next to that.
Put it all together, and you have the new 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness.
All right,
the Forester built for your most adventurous side.
Let's check out
Whether you're
just quickly the spec and tech for this car. I don't want to ride shotgun with you, Car and Driver, I'm sorry. But this article from Car and Driver, I'm going to link it down below. 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness has more torque and more tire. And more tire is definitely something that was needed for the previous generation, because that looked like it sat on stilts. So I'm going to compare it to the old one in a minute here. So strangely, power actually drops a smidge from 182 to 180 horsepower. However, the torque goes up from 176 to 178. So the engineers of Subaru, they're like, we need to tweak the power, just dial down the power by about 1%, up the torque about 1%, and that is going to be the sweet spot here. So torque peaks at a noticeably lower RPM, which is great if you take this off-road. You have at 3,700 RPM instead of 4,400, which is, as I said, great for when you're trailing. As with the last generation Wilderness, the approach, the departure angle, and the breakover angles are vastly better than the standard Forester. Of course, that is what you want when you go for the Wilderness trim. It's only nearly half an inch wider for the tires, and they're also nearly half an inch taller. And that, as I said, if you looked at the old one, which again we're going to do in a minute, it just the wheels just ruin everything about this car. So I'm glad they smacked on some beefier wheels here. You got 9.2 inches of ground clearance for the old Wilderness, and this one, again, they just tweaked it a little bit, gonna improve it just slightly to 9.3 inches for the 2026 model year. On the inside, you do have an 11.6 inch tablet-style multimedia system for the infotainment screen here. You do got wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course. You can opt for the 12.3 inch digital cluster if you want to. Roof rails, 800 pounds you can put on those things, and the Wilderness will look just as any other 2025 non-Wilderness Forester on the inside and have the same powertrain. So with that said, let's jump into Photoshop here and let me show you. As I said, I'm going to make a small little, just tiny, I'm going to do what the engineers of Subaru has done here with the powertrain. Just tweak the exterior. Just one change that anybody can do to this Wilderness if they buy it, and it will totally transform the car. So looking at the designs here, we have the new one here, of course, on the left side, and the old one on the right side. And look at this. I mean, look at the tire size here. It just looks crazy small. As I said, it feels like this is sitting on stilts or something like that. The wheels are just way too small, and it sits so high. You have the wheel sitting way inside of the vehicle as well. Big gap here, which is totally fine since this is in fact the Wilderness. And we still have, of course, the black cladding connecting to the headlight up here. It looks like a funky car. It just looks very comical, I would say, this car. But looking at the new one, it's sort of grown up. And I think what helps a lot is, first of all, the beefier tires. We have bigger tires, wider tires, and taller tires as well. Increases the ground clearance by 0.1 of an inch. Not that much, but still it is an improvement. And I also like the front end graphics, because now we have a clear identifier up here in the LED daytime run lights. Just look at this thing. This looks like a transformer eyeball in here. Then you have, I do believe this is the headlight, and then probably a fog light down there. I would like to see the fog light maybe sit a little lower. And we also have these interesting features here. It just looks very unique to have this area down here, just a little section where they put an orange piece of graphics in the middle of the front end bumper. And of course we do have, I do believe we have sort of a proper skid plate underneath here. So this is a decent off-roader, but check this out. This is one little change this works on any car. If you have the right wheel and tire setup, it's going to completely transform the car. So check this out now. Boom, look at that. If we put these wheels and tires on, it just becomes a proper beast. So this is something that I would 100% do. I would switch out the wheels and tires, add a little bit of width, and also maybe an inch taller tires or something like that, because it just switches out the stance, and everything becomes so much more rugged when you have the right wheels and tires on here. So looking at the rear end, the previous one, very interesting design here. We have these claw-like shape for the like crab claws, like we have on the previous Honda Civic, for example. And we also they just went crazy with the black cladding and graphics, like putting it in random places. So we have it in between the taillights here. It doesn't stick up. I thought it's stuck. It's probably on the Outback Wilderness that it sticks up like this, the black plastic. This looks a lot better in the rear end than it does in the front, in my opinion. But looking at the new one again, this is actually where they, included this black graphic going all the way up to the taillight like we have on the Outback as well. Interesting solution, but the thing about this, this is not, I wouldn't call this a beautiful design, but it is a very, very functional design. And I think that is what people care about. They don't really care about, looks. If you're buying a Subaru, it's not really about the looks, is it? Because what this helps with, if you go on the trails and you have a lot of branches and bushes and stuff sticking out, you don't want to scratch your paint. You have the furthest, the farthest part of every view of this car, the side view, the rear, the front. The first thing that's going to hit something is going to be these black plastic pieces, which is great. It's starting to scratch up the paint. I do like that it spells out Subaru down here. It looks very cool. I do wish we had dual exhaust pipes down here, but it has 180 horsepower, so it's not going to be a beast of a powertrain, but still, it would just look better. I like a symmetrical rear end in pretty much every single car. I do like the taillights as well. I think they remind me, is it the old Ford Edge? Is it? Or Ford, I can't remember the SUV, from like 2012 or something like that. It looks very similar to those taillights, but the internal pieces looks different, and they look a lot more modern than that, of course. We do have LED here. We don't have an LED indicator. It's just a regular light bulb, which I do think is the same. Yeah, right here. This is probably the indicator right there. So we have light bulb indicators for Subaru, which is fine in this price range, I would say. But looking at these, comparing the old one to the new one, it just feels like a proper refresh. And I think the wheel and tire setup just crushes it when it comes to this. And honestly, the old one, the Subaru Wilderness here, it kind of looks like a 2010 model or something like that. It looks very dated. Now, looking at the interior, there is really not a lot of changes here. And in this case, you're gonna know what I'm gonna say here. If you watched my videos before, you really definitely know what I'm gonna say, because look at this. What we had in the old one was some proper rugged big dials down here, perfectly laid out, small screen. We have another sort of auxiliary screen up here in the dash, looking super cool, in addition to a small screen in the gauge cluster with the analog speedometer and tachometer, looking nice. In the new one though, everything becomes digital, obviously. That is what we're doing these days. However, we still have the buttons up and down here for the temp being physical, but you can still adjust it down here. We don't have the dial though. The dial is so much better and so much easier to use when you quickly want to change the temperature. And this one, as you can see, is equipped with the optional 12.3-inch gauge cluster right there. We have some new texture here, which I like. I think this looks very nice and cool. Adding some styling to the interior with this bronze inlay down here at the bottom as well. And I'm not sure, does this have a CVT gearbox? I'm pretty sure it has a CVT. I'm not entirely 100% sure there, but the steering wheel looks to be exactly the same as what we had in the previous generations. No changes there. It's not really necessary. I do like the steering wheel. Looks pretty clean. You do got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in this vehicle as well. So the thing about this is, I think this is a great value. It's not going to be a very expensive vehicle, and you do get a lot of off-road capability. You don't get a lot of power, but that's not necessarily needed. And if you want to make it a proper-looking Subaru Forester Wilderness, all you got to do is just buy this and then switch out the wheels and tires. And look at how cool this thing looks.